The story begins with a woman in her 40s. She's packing her things because she wants to go on a long trip in her car. Not long ago, her husband died, and she still feels very sad and lonely. She hopes that going far away and traveling will help her heart heal. She fills her car with bags, attaches a trailer full of her belongings, and finally leaves the busy city behind. When she drives on the highway, surrounded by tall trees and quiet forests, she feels a little calm for the first time in a while. But suddenly, she notices a strange black car in front of her. The black car is moving very slowly, so she tries to pass it. But as soon as she changes lanes, the black car speeds up to block her. A huge truck almost crashes into her during this, but luckily, she swerves just in time. Her heart pounds from the close call. Moments later, the black car comes behind her, honking loudly and chasing her. She grips the steering wheel tightly, scared, but then the car suddenly turns off the road and disappears. Shaken but relieved, she continues driving until night. She stops at a small gas station in a quiet town. While filling up her tank, she calls her father to tell him she has left the city. He sounds worried. It's clear her parents don't like the idea of her traveling alone, but she doesn't want them to stop her. While she's still on the phone, she freezes. She sees the same black car pulling into the gas station. The driver stares at her with cold eyes before driving away. Uneasy, she heads to a nearby motel to spend the night. In her room, her mother calls, but she ignores it, knowing her mom worries too much and often overreacts about her feelings. Instead, she looks at old photos of her late husband on her tablet. The memories are too much, and tears roll down her face. She sobs quietly until she finally turns off the tablet and falls asleep. The next morning, she loads her car to leave. Suddenly, someone knocks on her car window. It's the driver of the black car. He introduces himself politely, though his smile feels wrong, and she notices one of his arms looks hurt. He apologizes for his reckless driving yesterday. Even though she feels uneasy, she doesn't want trouble, so she brushes it off and drives away. Back on the highway, she sees him again. This time, his car blocks her path. He says his car broke down and begs her for a ride to the nearest station. His voice is pushy, and his eyes are strange. Feeling something is wrong, she refuses. She tells him she'll call someone to help instead, but when he keeps insisting, she panics and speeds away. That night, she stops at a lonely rest stop. She talks on the phone with her mother again, who warns her it's dangerous to be alone. Suddenly, she notices the black car pulling into the rest stop. Terrified, she jumps back into her car and locks the doors. The man comes toward her, but just then a van blocks her way. He runs up and bangs on her window hard. Her heart races, but then the van moves, and she slams the gas to escape. Later, she drives down a long, empty road when she sees headlights behind her. Thinking it's him again, she calls 911 in a panic. She explains what's happening, but she can't say exactly where she is, which makes the dispatcher frustrated. The car finally passes her, and it turns out to be just a stranger, not the stalker. Embarrassed, she tells the operator it was a false alarm. But before she can relax, her own car suddenly jerks and swerves off the road. She checks and finds the trailer tire has been cut, probably by the man earlier. Just as fear takes over, the black car reappears. She quickly unhooks the trailer and tries to restart her car, but the engine won't start. The man steps out. He smashes her window and drags her out, no matter how hard she fights. He beats her brutally until she can no longer resist. Finally, he injects her with something that makes her pass out. The woman wakes up the next morning in a dark, locked basement under a cabin. She looks through a small window and sees someone outside. She cries for help, but her heart sinks when she realizes it's the same man who attacked her. That night, he comes down to see her. Shaking, she asks why he's keeping her here and promises she can give him money if he lets her go. But he only smirks and mocks her, saying all his other victims beg the same way. Then, in a chilling voice, he orders her to take off her clothes. Scared, she pretends she needs to use the bathroom, but when she makes a desperate run for it, he slams her against the wall so hard she falls, dizzy and weak. Lying there helpless, she watches him pick up her tablet and scroll through her pictures. He asks about her late husband, forcing her to relive her pain. Crying, she admits the truth. Her husband had ended his own life. For a moment, the man grows quiet and strange. Then, without a word, he leaves her alone. The next morning, desperate to escape, she finds a rusty nail in the wall. With trembling hands, she uses it to pick the lock on the basement door. Slowly, she slips out, but just as she heads for the exit, the man comes back. Terrified, she hides in a storage closet. From there, she hears him upstairs, talking sweetly on the phone to his wife and daughter. To her horror, she realizes he has a normal family who has no idea about his evil side. When the call ends, he picks up a knife and walks back down toward the basement. Seeing her chance, the woman bursts out of the cabin with no shoes on. She runs into the dark woods, branches scratching her skin. Suddenly, she steps on a sharp piece of wood that cuts deep in her foot. The pain makes her stumble, but she forces herself to keep running. Behind her, the man chases closely, his footsteps pounding the ground. At last, she reaches a rushing river. The water is wild and dangerous, but she has no choice. Taking a deep breath, she jumps in. The cold current pulls her hard, dragging her away. She tumbles downstream, coughing and fighting to stay afloat. When the river finally pushes her to another part of the forest, she crawls out, soaked and shivering. As she limps through the trees, she suddenly sees an old hunter. Terrified, she mistakes him for her captor and strikes him before realizing he's not the enemy. Panicking, she apologizes and quickly explains what happened to her. The hunter listens with wide eyes, hands her his phone, but it's broken from the blow she gave him earlier. Still, he wants to help, so he leads her to his truck. He gives her an old pair of shoes to protect her feet. They try to drive away, but the road is blocked by a huge log. She freezes. This feels like a trap, and she's right. The man appears from the shadows. Calmly, he tells the hunter that she is his crazy sister who ran away. The hunter doesn't know who to believe. The woman pleads with him to check the man's phone and call the police. When the hunter asks for the phone, the man suddenly attacks. The two struggle, but the man is stronger. With a gunshot, the hunter falls dead. Horrified and alone once more, the woman flees deeper into the woods as night falls. Rain begins to pour, soaking her clothes and blinding her eyes. Weak and scared, she hides behind a large boulder. Soon she sees the beam of the man's flashlight sweeping across the trees. Then, without warning, the light vanishes. She runs again, only to feel a sharp pain. The man shoots her in the shoulder. Bleeding, she stumbles on, refusing to give up. She drags herself into a swamp and sinks under the muddy water to hide. Her heart pounds as the man's voice echoes nearby. He mocks her, dares her to come out and take his gun. He even laughs about her late husband, trying to break her spirit, but she stays silent and hidden, holding her breath. Finally, frustrated and tired, the man decides to stop for the night. He walks away, planning to finish the hunt in the morning. Once he's gone, she pushes through the forest until she collapses under a tree. By morning, she wakes still deep in the woods. As she wanders, she spots the man again. He's digging a shallow grave to hide the hunter's body. While he works, she sneaks to his vehicle and searches. To her relief, she finds his phone. Just then, he comes back. Heart racing, she ducks behind the car. Without noticing her, he gets inside and drives off, with her hiding in the back seat. Quietly, she whispers into the phone, calling 911. But her voice is so soft, the operator can't understand her. Meanwhile, the man realizes his phone is missing. Angry, he pulls the car over search. That's when she strikes, grabbing a heavy tool. She smashes it against his head. The man roars in pain and fights back, trying to control the steering wheel while grabbing at her. She wraps the tool around his neck, trying to strangle him. The car swerves wildly, flips over, and crashes upside down. She crawls out of the wreck, bloody and exhausted, and stumbles into an open field. Behind her, the man crawls out too, badly hurt but still determined. He limps after her, knife in hand. With shaking hands, she dials his family's number and, crying, tells his wife the truth about the terrible things he's done. The man arrives just as his wife's horrified voice spills through the phone. When the woman throws the phone at him, his face twists in fear. His double life, loving family man and cruel predator, is exposed. Enraged, he grips his knife and charges at her. In the field, the two clash. He punches and chokes her, but she fights back with everything she has left. She kicks him hard and bashes him with a metal tool again and again. He tries to stab her, but she bites his arm, making him scream. Using the moment, she drives the knife into his stomach. The man collapses, bleeding into the mud. She drops too, gasping, staring at him with a mix of anger and relief. For a moment, all is quiet, until the faint sound of a helicopter cuts through the storm.
Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel. Thanks for watching.